So good afternoon. In the previous class, we were learning about staffing, right? The whole fifth module is about staffing, and we saw what is empowerment. What is empowerment? Empowerment means you're giving power to the subordinates, right? So the workers, the subordinates are getting power to make decisions on their own, okay, without having to consult with the supervisor or getting the permission from the supervisor. They are having the power, authority to make decisions regarding their work, right? That is empowerment. Then we saw what we mean by delegation of authority. So what is delegation of authority? Delegation of authority means sharing. Okay? The manager, the supervisor is sharing his authority with the subordinates. Authority leads to empowerment, right? Then we saw decentralization of authority, right? Decentralization of authority. So decentralization of authority means tendency to disperse decision-making authority. Okay, it's the tendency to disperse decision-making authority in an organized structure. Okay, in an organized structure, we'll have to disperse. If the decision-making authority is dispersed, it is known as decentralization of authority. So rather than one person having the entire control, entire decision-making power, what happens? That power, it's been distributed. It's been dispersed to the other subordinate, other workers also. Okay, so that too, but the term is in an organized structure. Okay, what do you mean by an organized structure? There's a what we saw in fourth module. There's a structure to the. It's been the organization. The people are designed. Okay, where who answers to whom. It's been designed. It's been organized. Right. So, for example, regarding a project. Okay, so similar people who think similarly, people who are having similar interests, they will form a project group. Okay, and based on the project topic, a guide will be assigned to you. Okay, so suppose there are 20 different projects, 20 different guides will be assigned, right? What will happen? To oversee all these 20 guides, we'll have a project coordinator. Okay, so anything and everything regarding the project will be and decided by the guide. Okay, so anything that affects other batches, it has to be decided by someone else. So that authority is given to the project coordinator. So project coordinator will oversee all the projects. What has to be done? Who can use the certain machine? Because multiple groups may need to use the same machine. So the coordinator will make a slot. Okay, this day this group can use. On the Monday this first batch, Tuesday third batch, like that. He'll make the schedule. Right. So there comes project coordinator. So he'll oversee that. Then above him, there will be a staff coordinator. Okay, staff coordinator will see to the day-to-day activities, right? Other your classes, regarding your classes, decision will be made. So whenever the project coordinator has to make a decision, he or she will consult with the staff coordinator. And above staff coordinator will report to the HOD. Then HOD will report to the principal. So that be there's an organized structure is there, right? There is a structure has been formed, right? So when we delegate authority or when we decentralize authority, what will happen? What will happen is it will promote initiative and responsibility in persons in charge of doing the work. Okay, so the person who is doing the work is not only getting the work, but also he's getting the power to make decisions, right? So he's in a decision-making power position. Okay, so he can make his own decision. Means it will promote a initiative. It will lead to him taking initiatives. Okay? He can implement his ideas. Okay? It will get us good results. So he will have a motivation to implement his ideas. He'll have a motivation to initiate new ideas, new things, right? And because it's his work, he's the one making decisions. So it will promote more responsibility in him also. So everyone is getting the same. If everyone is doing the same thing, the overall result will be the better will be the efficiency of the entire thing. The entire project will be better. Now, what are the advantages? One is reduces the burden on top executives. Okay, reduces the burden on top executives. Meaning, the decision making power, it has been given to someone else. Okay, so the top executive, the top manager doesn't have to make all the decisions. Okay, so he can be free for some time, right? So as we said earlier, decision making. In decision making, we have to take all the factors into consideration, right? We have to consider all and everything, and then only we can the merits, demerits. Then we have to consider other people, take others' experience into consideration. All this thing has to be considered. Then only we should make a decision. Should analyze the entire thing properly. Alternatives has to be analyzed properly. So decision making is a time taking process. So when the decision making, some of the decisions can be made by some other people, and that means the burden is reduced for the top management or the top person. Then develop managers. Okay, we are giving options. We are giving opportunities for others to develop. Uh, this decision making opportunities are given, so it gives an opportunity for them to develop. Also, the manager who is giving the authority, okay, manager who is giving the authority, he is also taking a chance, right? So he has to identify very good persons. Okay, he has to identify the person who can do the thing. Okay, he should know that if I give this responsibility to this person, he will do that. So he should be able to identify good candidates. So this would giving his authority. So that will help him also help the manager also to develop. If subordinate can develop, manager can also develop. Both of them can develop. Then facilitate better and speedy decisions. Right? We said when delegation of authority, the principle behind them it was that the person who is closest to the work is making decisions. So he knows what has to be done at the point, right? ASAP. He knows what is to be done. So he can make better decisions. He can make speedy decisions. Same way. So we are giving authority to the person who is doing the job, so he can make better decisions. Okay. Then growth and diversification. Again, we are giving opportunity. We are giving decision making authority to people who are specialized in it. So if he is doing an excellent job, what will this? We can take more and more such kind of jobs, right? Which will lead us to development. So even if we are having suppose we are having a construction company, so we can take some other jobs also. We can have a mechanical engineering wing. We can have an electrical engineering wing. It will lead to diversification and growth. Then motivation for subordinates. So this will lead to subordinates because subordinates can see because he is doing such a work, he is getting more and more responsibility, more and more authority is giving. He is growing fastly. He will be promoted soon. So they will also get the motivation to do better. Right? Then better communication. Again, the principle is those who are doing closest to the work are taking decisions. Okay, so the workers can easily communicate with the decision-making authority. Right? So he doesn't have to wait the top manager to hear what his question is and to respond. So he is conveying queries to the person in charge itself. Right? So it will lead to better communication. Then comes what are disadvantages? Disadvantages means one is increased expenses, right? Because there are many decision-making authority centers are formed, so resources might be duplicated, which will lead to administrative costs will be more. Then unsuitable for small organization. Only large structured organization can have this, decentralization of authority. Then depends upon the quality of the manager, right? So it will depend the quality of the manager be because the manager has to choose the best candidate for delegating his authority, right? For decentralization, you need to choose the best candidates who can work. So the judgment of the manager comes into play, right? And also the manager has to oversee what he is doing. Just because manager has given the authority, his responsibility doesn't decrease. He need to make sure that this person is also doing the job. So quality of the manager comes into play. Then lack of uniformity. Again, we are having different uh, decision making units, right? So yes, they will all follow the same rules and regulations. Okay? So suppose in the college itself, we have The departments is civil department, medicine, EC, electrical, CS, applied science. So there are so many departments are there. Each of these departments will have a decision making unit. They'll have their own decision making style, right? Yes, they will follow the rules and regulations of the college, but the decision making will be different. So if there is no proper control, it will lead to uh, lack of uniformity, right? Then external constraints will always come into play, right? What we had to do yesterday might not be what we had to do today, right? It may be due to government regulations, maybe to the attitude of the workers, maybe the attitude of the manager. All these things will come into play, right? The workers may not be happy to get more and more responsibility, because even though he is getting decision making authority, he may be, what will happen, he may be unhappy with it. Okay? He can do, manager knows that he can do, but his responsibility is English, his work is English, so that person might not take it good in a proper way, right? So that may lead to some issues. So it can occur within the department also, and due to external factors also. Okay, environment always comes into play. Then may require extensive training at the lower level of management, which will be costly, right? Because as we said, no, because on one fine day we cannot go and call up, okay, Mr. Come, Mr. A, come here. You are doing a good job, so you have to make decisions from today itself, today onwards. You cannot do that, right? So he should be trained enough. Okay, so training will take time, and time will need money. It becomes expensive, right? And increases complexity. So because there are many decision making centers are there, each of them will be making their own decisions, so it will lead to complexity, right? Then the term is decentralization of authority. So decentralization of authority means is the centralization of authority that was once decentralized. Okay, so we know decentralization of authority means we are distributing, we are dispersing the authority. So a re-centralization means we are coming back to the original state. Okay, so the dispersed power, the dispersed authority being collected back. That constitutes re-centralization. Okay, so basically it doesn't mean you are completely reversing. It's not normally a complete reversal of decentralization, as the other delegation is not wholly withdrawn by the managers. Okay, only some of the authorities are withdrawn. Sometimes what will happen is there will be some works continuing. One second. So some mechanical works were continuing. So we gave a mechanical engineer some power. Once that project is over, it doesn't need that power, right? So we will take it back. Okay, we will take, for the time being, we'll take it back, and then when the next project comes up, we'll give it back. Right? So that, like that. Once the power which was authority which was dispersed is getting back, we are taking it back. The process of centralization of authority over a certain type of activity or function. Okay, we are not taking entire thing, but certain one, right? So that was decentralization of authority. The next topic is effective organizing. Okay, so effective organizing involves developing an intentional structure of roles for effective performance. Okay, so we are developing a structure. Okay, we are developing a structure for effective performance. So see, one thing is, even though this module is about staffing, there is some aspect of organizing will also come into play. Okay, like you see, effective organizing. Okay, so be careful, don't get confused. Okay, module 3 and 4. So in new exams, in module part C, might have questions of organizing. Okay, part B also you will have questions of organizing. So don't get confused. Organizing, small topics are coming in this module also. So staffing, we need organizing for staffing. So that this interconnected, so some words will come into play, right? So one of the such words is effective organizing. So effective organizing involves developing an intentional structure of roles for effective performance. Okay, just like what we said, we have your project is there, right? So you have to do your project. For doing your project, you will, what will do? So similar ideas, similar persons with similar ideas forms a group. Okay, so those groups will be assigned with a guide. Okay, so guide will decide for everything and everything for the project. Then about guide, then we have project coordinator. Project coordinator oversees entire project. So if there is 20 batches are there, 20 projects are there, 20 projects he will be overseeing. Okay. Then there is a staff coordinator. Okay. Staff coordinator means he or she will be seeing the day-to-day function. Okay. Your other than your project, whatever academic activities are, will be seen by the staff coordinator. Then you have your HOD, your principal. Right? We have formed a structure. Okay? We have formed intentionally. We have formed the structure of roles. Right? We have formed the structure of roles to guide anything and everything with your project. Project coordinator, anything and everything, all the projects. Guide with only your project. Coordinator, all the projects. Yeah, he has to do all the projects, right? Some equipments will be needed, some machineries are needed. Okay, so if that machinery is needed, we will assign the dates. Who can assign use the machines on that so and so date. Okay, like that. Then staff coordinator will have a role of see all the things are done in the project. So, if you need to go off campus for doing something, so first you will go and tell your project guide. Okay, so guide will okay. So guide will see okay. Yeah, you need to go there. Okay, forward it. The guide will forward it to project coordinator. Okay, project coordinator will see okay. If the guide signed it, okay, okay, you have got the approval of the guide. Okay, so project coordinator will see okay. Then it will go to the your staff coordinator because other aspects has to be considered. Whether you have anything, if suppose an exam comes up, so exams has to be postponed, or exam you need a retest to be conducted, so that you need to come role of staff coordinator. The staff coordinator will send the listing to HOD. The HOD will see quick assigned by staff coordinator, project coordinator, and your guide. So his goal is to see whether all of them have signed. You say okay, for all of them signed, you say okay, move forward to principal. The principal see look into whether HOD has signed it or not. Okay, HOD signed, okay, principal will say okay, you can like that. Will be so each and every one will have their own roles. So it requires a network of decision and communication centers coordinating efforts towards the goal. Okay, so what is the goal? You need to successfully do your project, and so your guide is there, your project coordinator is there, your subject coordinator is there, your HOD is there. So all of these people are acting as a control for your decision making center or a communication center, so that you can complete your project very efficiently. Okay. Then establishment of objectives and orderly planning are necessary for good organization. Right? Again, we say so. You have a project to complete, so we need it has been assigned. Objective has been assigned. The planning has to be done orderly. We have planning, right? Orderly planning is done and necessary for completion, right? In organizing, there's no one best way to this way. It depends on the situation. Okay. So again, we know it is not that everything will be fine once it is done. No, we have one fine way to do everything. No, we will be having based on situation, right? Say for example, okay, say for example, you're learning. Okay, because of the pandemic, the best way for learning is by online media, right? But if the best way to learning, no, best way of learning will be offline media, having interaction with your classmates and your teacher, and that is the best way. But in this scenario, in this pandemic scenario, we have no other option. But in this scenario, the best way is what classes by online media, right? So it will depend upon the situation. So effective organization helps determine future personal needs and required training programs, right? So we are organizing. So suppose if we have more and more project groups are coming, okay. So one single person project coordinator cannot oversee all the projects, okay. Maybe 10, 15, okay. But more than that comes, he might not be able to coordinate, right? He will be overworked. So there, what we will have to have one more project coordinators, right? Project coordinators it will become. So we have 2 or 3 project coordinators. So they will have to interact with one among them. So suppose what we have to do, we'll have to add some person to oversee them also. Okay. Alright, so they have to interact with them. that will depend what is the future requirement. Okay, the number of groups increases means you will have more than one project coordinator, right? And future training model, because in, say for example, in a company you will be getting new projects ready. You don't have the company. You have to acquire the expertise. Either you have to or teach someone in your company. Okay, so, training programs has to be considered, or else new persons has to be added, right? Okay. It also discloses weaknesses. Okay, so we know who can do what. Okay, so whether are there more persons are there or less persons are there. So we know what has to be done. So we can disclose the weaknesses also. Right? Clear? The next term is organization culture. Okay. So culture means what do you do? It means the way you do the thing. Okay. Like in your home, you will behave in one way. In your friend's home, you will behave in another way. In your classroom, you will behave in another way. And in a family friend or someone you don't know, okay? You're going for the first time at the home, you'll be behaving the way different way. Okay, take for example in your friend's home itself. So the first time you went, you behaved in a certain way, and the 100th time you are going, you're behaving in the different way. So that means that's the your culture. It shows your culture, right? So it is the general pattern of behavior, shared beliefs, and values that the members have in common. Okay? Culture, organization culture is the general pattern of behavior. How do you behave? Okay, your shared beliefs. What are your beliefs? Okay, sometimes what you'll be standing up when a senior and the adult comes. That shows you behavior. That shows your beliefs and values, okay, that members have in common. Right? It is often stable and does not change fast. So you can say basically culture is a like DNA. Okay, it's like DNA of the organization. It's the DNA of the business. You know, DNA cannot be changed. But here culture cannot be changed fast, but it will take a lot of time. Okay? You change the people's behavior, right? So it will take a lot of time. So each organization has its own unique culture, and that provides a identity and exclusiveness to the organization. Right. So what happens is, say for example, sometimes you will see in the future when you're working, the top your manager. Okay, what manager will do is you'll stay behind until and unless all the staff are are left. He will stay back, okay, because he's supporting them. Okay, if they need anything, they should have the manager on call. So he will stay back. At least he will stay back until all the lady staff has gone. So he has to make sure that all the lady staff has gone uh, safely. Okay, from the office premises, everyone has gone safely. Everyone has. So this is started. It is his culture. Okay, sometimes what will happen? The opposite will also occur. The manager will go before everyone. Okay, once the office time is over, he will leave before everyone. Manager will leave. That's another possibility. Okay, so what happens is the people will have a tendency to copy them. They will have a tendency to mimic them. So once I have worked under a manager who are like this, who is staying back and seeing that all the employees are left, so I have a tendency to copy them. Okay, I also have a tendency. My manager used to do this, so I am also doing this. Okay, my teacher used to do this, so I am also doing this. Right? I've been taught like that. Right? So that's the culture. This is uniqueness. So every organization will have its own unique culture, and that will provide you the identity. Because see, you will feel that once you gone from one company to other. What you see when you passed, right, from 12th standard to BTech first year, the culture has changed, the classrooms has changed, everything has changed. You saw the difference, right? Similarly, you have friends in other colleges also, right? So you will say, okay, in my college it is we are doing things like this. So your friend will say, okay, in my college it's like I have another friend who is in that college. She is doing like this. Okay, so everyone will have their own unique culture, right? That becomes your the company's identity, right? So organization culture affects planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling. Okay, so basically it affects all the managerial functions. Your culture will affect all the managerial functions. Okay. So basically, we can say it's like because why do this affect? So it is how an employee sees the thing. Okay. Okay. So he has seen some things like this. So that will influence him, right? That will set a pattern of his beliefs, his values, and his expectation also. Okay, so the employee will have certain expectation because he has seen like this. So this is his culture. So he has seen working like this. So that will happen. So say for example, see what will happen is if you are going to a new company, and what happens is everyone is doing the minimal job. Okay, what is expected of them? Okay, what is the minimum expectation? They are only doing that, and they are leaving. Okay, so you'll get influenced by that. You have seen that, you are perceiving that, okay? And that creates a pattern, that creates a belief in you, okay? That creates a pattern in you. So you will also behave like that. So you will complete what is been asked of you, just what is asked of you, no nothing extra, right? Or sometimes what is happening opposite happen. So you have joined a new company, everyone is working too hard. They're not giving their 100%, they are giving their 110%. So you'll also get influenced by that. So you will also have a tendency to work more. Okay? Because everyone is working, you will be also doing. Okay? So it's usually our comment. See, everyone is doing, so I am also doing. That will become the culture. So you are seeing that. Okay? You are seeing that, and that influences you. Okay? So broadly, there are two types of organization culture. One is strong organization culture, and the other one will be weak organization culture. Okay? The strong organization culture refers to a situation where the employees adjust well, respect the organizational policies and guidelines, and they accept the roles and responsibilities willingly and enjoy working there. Okay? If it is that the culture, then that is a strong organization culture. There, the employees are working there happily, they are willingly they are working. Okay? They adjust their well, they respect the organizational rules and guidelines, and they know what is the roles and responsibilities, they are accepting it, and they are working there willingly. They are accepting the roles and responsibility willingly. It's not that they are out of fear. Okay, okay, the manager says that I have to do this. No, they are doing it willingly. They accept their duties and responsibilities willingly and enjoy working there. Okay, so next is weak organization culture. Weak organization culture is the situation where people accept responsibilities out of fear and do the things due to compulsion. Here again, it's the opposite. Okay, so here what will happen is the employees are doing it because of fear. Okay, only because of fear they are working. So they are not giving the 100%. So what they will do, they will do the minimal requirement. Whatever is the minimum required, they will do the minimum requirement, and then they will be done with it. For them, organization is only a source of income and never get attached to it. Okay, that's a big issue for a company. If the employees are not attached to it, the, the, the growth potential will decrease. See, what will happen is sometimes even if the company is going through a bad phase, they are not able to pay the salary properly. The employees will stay back. Okay, employees will stay back, and they will try to improve the condition. Okay, but if there is no attachment to the company, what they will do? They will leave the first chance they have. Right? See, it may not be always because you're the boss. Okay, the boss will have land share. Okay, how your management treats you will lead to your decision. Okay, whether I am staying or I am leaving, whether I am in a strong organization, I am in a weak organization. But your subordinates will also have a play. See, your colleagues, they will also have a role in this. Okay, to creating a organization structure. Your subordinates may, management may create weak organization. Right? Weak organization culture. Or most commonly it will be the top management, right? So, effective organizing involves developing intentional structure of roles. Okay? So we are providing a structure, and each structure means they are having a role. Each person is having a role, and for what? For effective performance. We need to complete our project, our objective. We have to attain our objective. For that, we have a structure of roles. Then requires a network of decision and communication centers for coordinating efforts towards the goal. Okay, requires a network of decision and communication centers for coordinating efforts towards the goal. So everyone has to take part. Everyone has to. So I know whom to ask. Okay, if I have a problem, I know whom to ask. So there is I know who is the decision maker. So and also decision maker can know who to ask. Okay, so if a project coordinator gets a question, If he's having a doubt, he can always ask the staff coordinator. So there's a communication link also is there. There's also a decision making link is also there. So establishment of objectives and orderly planning are necessary for good organization. Okay? Because if there's no planning, we will not survive. And in an organization, there's no one best way of, it depends on the situation. Okay. So best way of teaching is offline. So as far as we know, offline teaching is the best because we know we can interact, but based on situation. Right now, the best way is offline. So the best is online, right? So effective organization helps to determine the future personal needs and require training programs. Okay? It shows us the weakness. Okay? So how many persons do we need to work properly? When we chart it out, we know we will see organization charts. When we chart it out, we know where we lack. We can add a new person, or we can give existing person training so that he can perform that task. Right? Then comes organization culture. The culture means what we do. Okay, it's basically the DNA. It's how we behave. It's how we do things. It's a general pattern of behavior, shared beliefs, and values that all members have in common. Okay. So it's often stable and does not change. That's why it's some sort of a DNA. Each organization has its own unique culture and that provides an identity and exclusive of the organization. Organization culture affects all manager functions. Therefore, it affects the organization as a whole. So there are basically you can say there are two types of organization culture. Okay, one is a strong organization culture is there, and the other one is weak organization culture. Strong organization culture refers to where people are taking their roles and responsibilities willingly. Okay? Strong means they are taking their roles and responsibility willingly. They adjust to the roles. They know what has to be done. They respect the organization policies and they work for the betterment. They enjoy working. Basically, they enjoy working there, right? So weak organization culture means it's a situation where people do something out of fear. Okay? They are not doing it willingly. Out of fear, only they are doing. They need to be compelled. Okay? Until and unless they are forced to do it, then only they will do. Okay? So they will do what is minimally what they have to do. They will do it and they'll stop. Anything extra, if they have to do, they should be compelled. Okay? So such a system, in such a system, people work for only for money. Therefore, them the business, the organization is a source of income only. They don't have any attachment. Okay, so they will not do anything for the betterment of the organization. It should change, and only the company will also grow. So what you have to understand is the culture is not influenced by the top management only. They will set the rules. Okay, they will be the one who is setting the standard, but your subordinates will also play. So what happens is like if a company says we are only interested in profit, do anything and everything, I need profit. Okay, then harass the employees. Give me more and more profit. Right? So that may be the thing. Okay, sometimes what will happen? Your subordinates are only interested in their job. They'll try to harm you. Okay, in Malayalam we say para. Right? Do so that they can grow. Right? So that is organizational culture. One more topic is there, a small topic, organization charts. Okay, organization charts indicates how departments are tied together along the principal lines of authority. So how a department is tied together. So as we said, in project means project, your group, guide, project coordinator, staff coordinator, HOD, then principal. So that's the line of authority for project. Okay, in a class it will be your class, your staff coordinator, your HOD, your principal, right? So that's again another principal line. So how this is connected together? That is the organization chart. Like for example, if you say in police, we have the DGP. Okay, then we have the IGs. Okay, North Zone IG, Central Zone IG. We see in the news, right? Then we have the DIGs. Then you have the commissioners, right? Commissioners is there. Then you have your devices, SI, CISI, like that. There's a chart. Okay, this is how the arrangement is there. Okay, how they are tied together. So who will answer to whom? Okay, so the staff coordinator has to answer to HOD. HOD has to answer to principal. Principal might have to answer to the director, like that, right? So they map the lines of decision making authority. Who is answerable to whom? It shows formal authority relationship and omits many significant informal and information lines. Okay. What happens is here only see staff coordinator may be getting advice on the subject teachers. Okay. Or from the other staff coordinator also. That kind of information, and that may be up to friendship. Okay, it may not be formal. So here, what happens in organization are that sort of informal relationships and information relationships are not shown. It shows only formal relationships only, right? So we shall wind up here today. So if you have any doubt, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll move on to